Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. And I'm back today with a review for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the sequel to Black Panther. And yeah, before we get started, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I'm sorry, I haven't been uploading for a while. Life, been busy. Also got a little bit of a cold, as you may hear by my voice. It's like the cold season and stuff. But you will be getting a ton of videos, especially Andor related. Me and Alex have been watching Andor. We've been reacting. I have the footage. I'm going to edit it for you guys. It will be on the channel, so you're going to get hit with a wave of Andor videos soon. So stick around for that. I'm going to go ahead and really quickly give you a non-spoiler review, but this is mainly going to be a spoiler review. So here's my quick non-spoiler review. It's a very beautiful movie. Visuals, music-wise, beautiful tribute to Chadwick Boseman, and I personally enjoyed the movie. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not. I think it has a lot of story issues and script issues, especially with executions with some characters and some story elements. But I still enjoyed the movie, and I'd recommend you go see it. And did it need to be 3 hours long or close to 3 hours long? No, not at all. Not at all. Let's talk about spoilers now. And I'm not going to talk about everything that happened in the movie. I'm just going to talk about some things that stood out to me. And yeah, if you want to have a discussion with me about the film, leave your thoughts down in the comments. We can talk. Let's go. That'd be fun. So first of all, let's start with positives. I mean, Ryan Coogler has to get one of these, right? For the immense job that he did of pulling this off. He pulled off what seemed to be impossible. So there's a story going around about how when they finished the script for Black Panther 2, Chadwick was still alive, and he's told him, hey, I'm going to send you the script before I send it to the studio for some revisions and stuff like that. And then a week after that, Chadwick passed away, unfortunately. So the script for the movie was already, at least the first draft maybe was finished. And then obviously the passing of Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther. So Ryan Coogler not only had the job of rewriting the entire thing, coming up with a whole new thing now that his lead is gone, but also once the script was done and they were ready to shoot, as the leader, he had to, as the leader of the crew of this ensemble, he had to get everybody on the same page with this. It couldn't have been easy to returning to set and filming this movie for the whole cast and crew, again, the passing of Chadwick Boseman, but I just want to picture that Ryan Coogler as the leader just had to get everybody on the same page to do this. And I'm sure everybody was, extremely professional about it. But, you just have to give a huge round of applause to Ryan Coogler for pulling this off. Amazing, the job that he did with this movie to make it happen. On the technical side, visually, this movie's stunning. I'd say the first Black Panther movie, I mean, one of the biggest critiques and one of the biggest things that stand out to us as a negative is definitely that third act that looks like a video game. It looked pretty bad. The visual effects in this movie were stellar, I thought. We had a lot of underwater sequences too. We had a whole underwater city. I loved Wakanda in this movie because, for me personally, one of my other critiques about the first Black Panther movie is that we never got to go down the streets of Wakanda or really go down. Maybe they had a scene or two about it, but we never got to really spend time in Wakanda as a city, as this fake city that we want to explore. This movie has more of that. It shows more of Wakanda, and I really appreciate it for that. And music-wise, I mean, who let Ludwig be so talented? Ludwig's so good on the music. Fantastic. Also, I think the main thing that this movie does better than the first movie is action sequences. There isn't a ton of action sequences in this movie. This movie's kind of a slow burn with the story that it's trying to tell. But when the action's happening, it pops off. Ryan Coogler definitely stepped it up in the action department, in the action sequence department when it comes to this movie. And I really appreciate him for that. I thought they went bigger in terms of action than the first movie. And they succeeded. The other huge positive you gotta give is to the cast for the job that they did. Everybody, every single actor brought it in this movie. Especially Letitia Wright and Angela Bassett. I mean, you have the mom and the queen and the sister, Shuri. And they lost their brother. They lost their son, their king. And the weight that they two carry in this movie, I mean, everybody carries a huge weight in this movie, but them two specifically, they're so good in this movie. So good. I was shocked, jaw on the floor when they killed the queen. I did not expect that. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. Entering this movie, I thought to myself, okay, well, Chadwick's gone now, so that's the big loss for this movie. The King's gone, T'Challa's gone. Like, are they really going to kill somebody else off? Even though this movie's going to deal with the loss of, the King. And they did it. I mean, think about it in this movie. Brother and mom gone. Peter Parker and Shuri should just like hang out, have a little therapy session because they both have like no family left. So, and they're both so young too. Angela Bassett was great. There was one specific monologue with Okoye. I remember she was giving it all in that monologue, like just wonderful. But the main star of this movie, the actress that really had to step up to the plate here, that amazed me with her performance, was Letitia Wright. She was so damn good in this movie, and again, I just want to give her a round of applause for that, because I thought to myself, after this movie, I thought to myself, she never signed up for this, probably, when she signed up to be Shuri for the first Black Panther movie, right? Because she was a side character, the sidekick to King T'Challa. And then all of a sudden, boom, in the sequel, you are now the main star. You are going to be the new Black Panther. You're the main star. But not only that, you are going to carry the emotional weight of this movie. The number one thing that I really like what they did with Shuri is the fact that she's a very kind of science-minded person, right? When she sees a problem, she's like, I can get a formula going here, plug these numbers in, let's build a machine and we can solve it. No problem, like I'm smart enough to solve anything. But then the movie starts, and the way they address Chadwick's death in this movie, I thought they did it very respectfully, and I thought they did the best they could of it, and he dies to just an unknown illness, right? King T'Challa just passes to an unknown illness. Shuri was really trying to save her brother, really trying to put a formula together, get some kind of herb here to help him, but she couldn't. And she can't wrap her mind around that idea that and she even says it. She has this one monologue where, was she talking to the mom? I forgot who exactly she was talking to, but she even said it, they gave me all these powers, I'm smart, I can build stuff, but I couldn't save my brother. Her science brain just couldn't wrap itself around that idea of her brother being gone, and especially losing her brother in the way that she did. And I thought for character development and to understand the character more, they played that very well with her. There's also a scene towards the beginning of the movie where the queen takes out Shuri to do a ritual, a spiritual ritual about loss and grief and moving on, because this movie took a 1-year jump after the beginning of the movie. Mom's like, let's do this ritual, it will really help. Even then, she sits there no, what you're doing, it's not it. She's still thinking very science-like. She can't get into this whole spiritual idea over here. And yeah, I just thought, for her character and to understand her character more, all of that worked really well. And on the topic of grief, this is, the main theme that this movie deals with. Grief and loss and the ability to move on and grow, but also, pay respects to the ones that we lost. And yeah, I thought everybody did a great job with that. There was this one line in the movie that really stuck out to me. It's something that when we all found out about Chadwick's illness, real life, about Chadwick's cancer and that he passed away, a lot of people said, because, most of the world didn't know about it. So a lot of people said this thing of oh wow, he suffered in silence. He didn't let anybody know this. And in the movie, they say that specifically about T'Challa, and I don't know, I just appreciated it that. Created a little bit of more of a connection to the way we lost Chadwick in real life. I believe it was Nakia who said it. It talked about T'Challa suffering in silence, and I don't know, I just made that connection immediately that that's what people said about Chadwick when we lost him. The way they did the Marvel Studios logo in the beginning with just Chadwick, no character, none of the characters, just Chadwick as, T'Challa, just playing screens of that. Man, that got me. I was like, man, this is how we're starting the movie already. Come on. There was one more tribute at the end where Shuri's sitting by the campfire, and she gives away the dress, I guess, that she wore during the funeral as part of a ritual. She closes her eyes, and they play these flashes of Chadwick, scenes from Black Panther, And I love the silence too, the idea to not have any music, not have anything when it comes to that, when it comes to the Marvel intro and to that at the end. Those two tributes in the movie really stick out to me. Yeah, they were beautiful, and they got me. They got me. Let's talk about some negatives. And one of the negatives, it's going to have to be Namor in a way, because there's a lot of things that I liked about him, but then there's a lot of things that I didn't like about him. The number one thing that I liked about him is him in action. He is amazing in action. Super strong, super powerful, flying through the air. I love the little wings, the little ankle wings. Love that shit. That shit was fire. I know some people said it was corny, some people didn't like it. I personally love the wings. I thought they were great. And when he's flying through the air, he's like hopping on air. I thought that was sick. But outside of action sequences, I just couldn't care about his motives. I thought his motives and his ideas for why he's doing what he's doing were pretty weak. And I thought the movie delivered those ideas in a very weak way. The movie does have some cliches, and this is why I tell you that the movie has script and story issues at times. The movie has some cliches, like for example, in the middle of the movie, Shuri and Namor sit down and Namor is like, okay, well, let's take a few minutes here. Here's my entire backstory so everybody can know about that. And having those big exposition dumps that we've seen so many times before, I don't feel like that was a very compelling way to tell his story. And I don't really think they did a super great job to make me really get invested into his story and make me care about him and his motivations. So outside of action sequences, his motivations I thought were pretty weak, and I could care less about them. The more he kept talking about them, the more I kept on thinking Killmonger, because it kept on sounding a lot like Killmonger, and I was like, we're redoing what we did with Killmonger in a little bit of in a different way, but Killmonger was much better, or much better executed, and I cared much more about Killmonger's motivation in the first movie than about Namor's. I don't feel like Namor's was executed as well as Killmonger's story was. Also, we did have a Killmonger cameo. He showed up in the spiritual, oh man, what is it called? I always get it wrong. Spiritual plane. Also, Namor took like a very big leap at a certain point. He started the movie being like, bring me the scientist and that's all I want, and I'm gonna kill the scientist and we're good. And then in the middle of the movie he's like, you know what? The scientist was a sign. I'm gonna go after everybody. Fuck it. I'm like, bro, when the fuck did you make this leap? Why couldn't you just start with like, I'm going after the top of the world? Speaking of cliches, I know the movie's theme was, about not letting vengeance consume you, and we kind of did this with T'Challa in Civil War. He even said it to Zemo, vengeance is consuming you, it is consuming them. I'm not gonna let it consume me. And then, he stops him from killing himself, and then he takes Zemo to jail. And this movie, Shuri does the same thing with Namor, but like then at the end of the movie, her and Namor are like standing side by side with each other, being like, hey, we solved our differences, we're all good now, so you guys go back in the ocean, we'll stay back up here, and if we ever need to communicate, we're all good. I just couldn't help but think, bro, this guy killed your mom. He killed your mom and you're just gonna let him get away with it? She did rip his wings off, so maybe that's a punishment. But like even T'Challa, when he captured Zemo, he was like, you're going to prison, right? There's a punishment for that. But Namor drowns the queen, and then Shuri at the end of the movie is like standing side by side with him, being like, we're all good. We're good. See you guys in the sequel. At the end of the movie, Namor is explaining to his people why he did what he did, and he's like, well, when they need our help, they'll come and call us. Why would she ever call you? You killed her mom. Like, I don't know, I can't see them being buddy-buddy in the future. Like, you killed her mom. Why would she ever come to you for help again? I mean, let's be real. It was super predictable that she was never going to kill him. So, her wrestling with that idea, I know we needed it for the story, but as soon as she brought up the question of like, oh, am I going to kill him? I'm like, you're not going to kill him. You're just not. Because that's how these things go. Another issue that I want to talk about is that this movie is 2 hours and 41 minutes long. It did not need to be that long at all. There's an entire subplot with Everett Ross and Val. It does not need to be here. Get rid of it. Get rid of it completely. Val, Ross, the United States. Let's be done with that. We don't need to cut back to it, back and forth. It added nothing to the story at the end of the day. It was like kind of trying to touch upon something like the USA is like monitoring Wakanda, and they may have some tension there, some political tension there. But it never gets to anywhere at the end of the movie, so it feels like a waste of time. That storyline specifically feels like the studio was like, Ryan, we need this project to somehow set up more stuff in the future, because every one of these projects leaps off another one. So just include this one little thing here so Val can go into Thunderbolts and Ross can, I guess, go into Secret Wars because he was in the trailers. But yeah, they were like, hey, flush out their characters just a little bit more for the future. I know Everett Ross is our favorite token white boy in these movies, and I guess he's attached to the Black Panther storylines, but it really felt like we didn't need him in this movie at all. I forgot to talk about this character, but the only thing that Everett Ross really did that had any impact of it was when he showed up in the beginning of the movie and pointed to where they could go and talk to Riri Williams. That was the only time we kind of needed him, but besides that, we didn't really need him. And with Riri Williams, I thought this was a fun introduction to a brand new character, and I'm actually looking forward to her show. I like the actress, I like the energy that she brought, the youthful energy, like she's excited, she has fun with the stuff that she does. The big thing I want to say is, can we please get a brand new suit in Ironheart, because this suit sucked. The design was awful. It was bad. And at the end of the movie, when Shuri's like, yeah, you can't take the suit with you, I was like, fine. No, that's fine. You guys keep that shit, and she will make something better in Ironheart, hopefully. Yeah, that suit was not great. So hopefully we can move past that and get better suits in Ironheart. But hey, I'm looking forward to Ironheart now because I really like the actress in this movie, and yeah, I thought she just brought good energy about it. And also the movie like kind of centers around her, but the movie like introduces her, gives her just enough character descriptions and developments to save all of that for her own show, because she enters the movie and we get to know her just a little bit, and then she just kind of turns into like this thing that Namor needs and Wakanda needs to protect. Kind of like in Doctor Strange when America Chavez was introduced. Just a little bit of character description, and then it's just kind of one of those things that Doctor Strange needs to protect, Wanda needs to come and get. But hey, most of the character development for her, I guess, is being saved for her own show. So I'm actually excited for that one. I guess the final thing that I want to talk about is the post-credit scene. And in the post-credit scene, we found out that T'Challa actually had a son that they were raising away from Wakanda. And this kid's name is also T'Challa. And when me and my friends exit the theater, my friends were like, yo, what's with every single one of these characters having kids now? Why is this a trend? Because Thor ended up with a kid at the end. Well, Iron Man had a kid. Hawkeye, I guess, has Kate Bishop or whatever. Everybody just kind of has kids now. But this one, I looked at my friends and I said, you know what? This one makes the most sense. And I like that they did this. And here's why. So when Chadwick Boseman passed away, Marvel Studios like, we're not recasting him as Black Panther. And a lot of people were like, so what? Are we done with T'Challa? Like, we're done with T'Challa. And this was a way to have T'Challa, but be somebody else and not be the same as Chadwick Boseman. So like now we have a T'Challa in the MCU, but it's not Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, you know what I mean? So I like what they did there. I thought that was pretty smart. For the past couple of days, ever since I saw the movie, I had a bunch of people ask me, what did you think about the movie? And the number one thing that comes to mind is just, it's a beautiful film. Beautiful tribute, beautiful visuals, beautiful music. The story is okay. It has its flaws. I think Namor as a villain is like a hit or miss for me sometimes. Or not a villain. Anti-hero, antagonist. He's not like a straight up villain. But the stuff with him sometimes didn't work for me. But action-wise, it did work for me. So yeah, I don't know if it's better than the first Black Panther movie. I haven't seen that movie in a while. Maybe I should go and rewatch it. Let me know down in the comments. Is this one better than the first Black Panther movie? Is this the best movie of Phase 4? I can tell you that it's not. For me personally, I have Shang-Chi and maybe Spider-Man No Way Home above this movie. But it's still a very solid movie. It does not need to be as long as it is. So it does have its weaknesses. But again, no movie is perfect. And yeah, let me know down in the comments. What did you think about Black Panther Wakanda Forever? I would love to have a discussion with you about that. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will be uploading much more now. Yeah, sorry for the past 2 weeks now. There's been a bit of a break. But yeah, we're back. So yeah, peace. That was bad.